Welcome to No Such Thing as Normal podcast with Natalie Hayes and Jess McKeown.
This is a casual podcast where we talk about all of the things you're not supposed to talk about in order to help you normalize your real life, because really we're all just a bunch of weirdos having a completely human experience in a society that asks us to pretend like we're not.
And I'm your host, Jess, a gifted spirit baby medium who facilitates deep soul healing by channeling divine messages.
And I'm your other host, Natalie, an intuitive mentor and transformative healer.
Be sure to subscribe where you listen to podcasts, watch our 100% unedited episodes on YouTube, and you can also follow us on the gram at McJaguar and at Intuitively Natalie for more weirdo and woo-woo content.
And if you like this episode and any of the other ones, please be sure to rate and review where you listen to podcasts and tag us on Instagram, shout us out so that more people can unleash their weird with you.
Woo! And speaking of weird, we have invited our first weirdo guest to come on. This is Sara. She is a comedian, coach, astrologer, and the host of The Moonual. It's a comedy moon ritual that happens every month on the new moon and the full moon. And then she also has the Space Trash podcast every week. I think Sara just brings so much comedy, humor, fun, and liveliness to astrology. And we're going to talk about the eclipses that are coming up. And we are like, let's bring us an expert because we are hobby astrologists and we were just doing a poor job for our audience. And we're like, let's get a motherfucking expert on here. So here's our expert, Sara.
Well, it is an honor to be the weirdo expert du jour. We were talking about it before. It's like, how should I introduce you? And it's like, first of all, weirdo would suffice. That's an actual enough. That is enough. Dianu would have been enough. It would have been enough. Okay, happy holy holidays, Dianu. Weirdo is enough. But also, if you guys are interested in like side hustles, you should have a career in like divine healer. Like you could moonlight as copywriters. Both of your intros were so succinct and perfect. And it's like I'm I'm producer. So I cut like half the list of things that a multi-hyphenate. You know what I mean? It's like I can't get a sentence together to be like, this is what I do. But like both of you with the wacky shit you do just made it make so much sense in like 4 words. Economy, very good, girls. I'm so impressed. That's fucking you both are gonna have to redo my bio is all I'm saying.
That
it's all Natalie.
So good. I feel so good. Like we never get that kind of
Gemini. It's your Gemini energy.
No,
yeah.
That Gemini 6th house. You're like, how can we make this more like functional with using the right language?
Yeah.
Very good.
I never know. I feel so affirmed in the first 5 minutes. I'm really excited that you're here.
We're gonna have guests on more often.
Yeah.
We actually start the show with a compliment. So the structure of the show goes a little something like this. We start the show with praise of us. And then you can talk about whatever you want.
I love it. Yes. What are some things that you love about us?
A new prerequisite.
Well, what we love about you, Sara, is like you're just so fucking funny. You're so real. If I can share that we had a session together and Rodney Dangerfield came through for Sara as one of her guides. And we got to channel Rodney Dangerfield. And it's funny
to do the voice. I made her do the voice.
I was like,
she's like, I'm not going to try to do an impression. I was like, actually, you are going to do an impression. You're going to try. You're going to channel Rodney in his voice.
Because like everyone, no.
Doesn't want to hear it.
He was like, Sara, you're a healer comedian, not a regular comedian.
Yeah, I mean, everybody does Rodney Dangerfield as like a voice, right? So I was like, oh my God, here I go. But yeah, it was a fun experience. And then going to your Moonual and listening to like, you bring in all these different experts, you read people's charts. It's a fun time. It goes on for hours. So you can pop on and off whenever you like. But we love your approach to astrology, and motherfucking eclipses are coming up. And I'm saying motherfucking a lot today. I don't know why.
Yeah. If you have kids in the car, if you're listening in the car, just
sorry.
This is an episode.
Tell them it means something different, first of all.
Right? Exactly.
Oh, motherfucking means magical. But then they're going to be like, wow, look at that motherfucking unicorn.
In class.
Maybe
yeah.
But I also think motherfucking is apropos because one of the things I think that we're feeling in whatever way is, and honestly, Jessica, for your business, I hope you, I mean, if I didn't book out how many clients do you think I've sent you? Like 40?
1 million, yes.
I made it's like a if you work with me, you actually have to do a session with Jessica because there are certain questions that I can't answer and that I don't, even though in the astrology chart I don't feel totally comfortable speaking on because like it's just, especially when it comes to like fertility issues and or not issues. It's funny because I don't even want to use the term fertility issues. I want to say like with like fertility not according to your plan or whatever, you know, like
patterns,
fertility ego,
yeah,
ego issues or whatever. All this to say that, like, especially starting during this past weekend, this past full moon, and what these eclipses represent, I mean, it is a highly fertile time. So I think if you're using motherfucker a lot, it's partially because you're actually trying to, like, your subconscious is trying
divine.
to fuck the mothers, fuck them into becoming mothers. Come on, are you a motherfucker or what? Why don't you turn on your mother? Get in there, get the fuck in there.
I love you so much. Yes. And because of the stuff that I was doing before this podcast, it makes a lot of sense.
You're like, hello, do we have any motherfuckers in the house? Get them pregnant. Now's time.
Now's the time. So I was actually thinking about, so I have this business, right? And I talk about spirit babies, which I love, but there's this other side of me that it's like super into sexual magic. And I'm like, how do I like talk about like babies and like grief and like, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then sex magic and like all this beautiful stuff. And I was like, well, sex magic makes babies, but that's kind of, so I'm in this head of like, how do I express that side of myself?
Well, okay, we'll do a sesh off because I want everyone to know our secrets. Okay. But what I will say, side note, is it's interesting that you say that, because when people, it's funny, it's like they always say, like, your clients are like on some level a reflection of you. Like you always call with everything, friends, relationships. I mean, Libra full moon, it's like your people are your people. Who are you with? That's showing you, right?
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, a lot of my, like, I probably have had 6, which is a lot for me in terms of this one particular conversation, calling me about fertility ego issues or whatever. That's why I'm sending you so many people, because I'm like, look, before you even ask the question, I'm interrupting, and can you talk to Jessica? But when people either don't talk to Jessica or they just want my take, the way that I handle fertility, I mean, I'll look in the chart obviously, but the way that I handle fertility issues in clients, and I had 2 specific experiences where it actually worked. But it was sex magic, because I was basically like asking them questions so coaching and astrology are slightly different services. I offer both, and I offer a combination as well. Again, somebody do my website. It makes no fucking sense, but but it's like, I've had the 2 where it was successful. It was like I had 2 clients that were like, we don't understand. We've been in these like happy relationships. We got married. We're living in Canada. We're like so happy. Everything's so great, blah, blah, blah. But like, I just can't get pregnant. And so then I asked the coaching question. So I'll look in the chart. I'll say, well, this is the timing in terms of astrology when you're really fertile, or sort of what baby making looks like or whatever. But then I go into the coach mode, and I'm always like, well, tell me about, like, when you say you're having fertility issues, like, what does that mean? Tell me about when you picture having a baby and that baby being there. What does that feel like? What does it look like? And what's funny is you'll find that a lot of people are like, he's going to be, blah, 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 or she's going to be, blah, 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 right? And then I go, that's interesting. Like you're speaking about your unborn child with a gender, you know? And then you find out like, oh, well, I had one client that was like, I'm not having a boy. And I was like, oh, then you're having a baby. Because not only are they going to maybe surprise you once they're on Earth anyway. You know, now they can be whatever the hell they want. It was funny. She was like, actually, I'm fine if it's a trans boy. She's like, I just don't want a boy. I'm like, okay, you hate men. And
there's a lot to unpack there.
Is the issue. So, so I actually had her, we talked about what, like, her fear of raising a man in this society. And we talked about what it was, you know, and when they were having sex, the process that they were doing it, which was very clinical. It was like, I'm ovulating, I'm laying on my back, I'm holding my legs in the air. It's like, that is not sexy. And you're trying to control, like, everything. If your baby is sitting there in the queue, as Jessica says, if baby's sitting there in the queue, and it's like, but damn, I have a penis. The baby's not comfortable coming and making you their mom. You know?
Yeah.
So it's funny. I made this one client, I made her pick the name. I said, come back to me with 3 names that would be appropriate. If you had a boy, you'd be excited as Juniper. These are the names you'd be excited, whatever. And within the month, she was pregnant. And wouldn't you know, it was a boy.
That's amazing.
Chills.
But it's so much ego where we're trying to control, even with the timing. I think that's why Jessica, so many of my clients talk to Jessica that she's like, you don't even know how much I talk to you every day, talk about you and to you every day, because I'll be like, but remember what Jessica said? Because sometimes people don't believe what I say because it feels so, like, people will be like, you're just saying that, or like, I don't know, for some reason it doesn't always resonate, especially when you talk to people weekly, you become normal to them. So when they talk like a psychic that's credible, that's giving them information, it's like every client that I have talked to Jessica comes back and they're like, well, I basically said what you said. And it's like, yeah, no fucking shit. Yeah, of course you said what I said. Of course you said what I said.
I mean, a lot of my work is validating for people, right? It's like, you know, and and when I see your clients, like, well, Sara said that too. I'm like, okay, well, so Sara's right, you know, like listen to Sara, like, you know, you're getting information from different places. And I'm sure you're channeling all the time, Sara.
Well, sure. And but the reason I like astrology is because I don't have to say I'm channeling. I can say like, it's right here.
It's a map. Yeah.
You know, instead of me walking around being like, I'm just having this feeling, you know, I'm just, you know, it's easier to be like, well, in the chart it says, and then I'm giving some specific detail about, you know, a website to go to. And it's like, well, they didn't say match.com in the chart, but for some reason it feels like the right place for you. Or whatever. But I also think let's keep this trend going, Jessica, because you know, in the name of abundance and these eclipses that are coming up in Taurus and Scorpio, don't believe me. Hire Jessica too. Pay all the healers. Profits over profits. Yes, you all need a session with Jessica and Natalie. We're gonna find out why, but trust me, you need these videos.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And we're here for you. That's why we're doing this. Like, you know, we love doing this. We love helping you, like clear that shit, kill that ego, have those babies, you know, have whatever you
make it merch. Is that not your sweatshirt?
Kill that shit, have those babies. That'll be the next one.
Kill that ego, have those babies.
That's my new headline. Okay, Sara, we love you so much. I love this insight, but let's chat about eclipses in specific. Like, what is significant to you about this eclipse season or eclipse seasons in general? Like, what the fuck? What are they?
Well, okay, so eclipses in general, we'll start broad. Eclipses are fate points in the collective, right? Yeah, exactly. Now you see me now, you don't. Now, and you know what it is? It's kind of like, I don't know if this is video. Well, I guess it is video online. So yeah, you guys will enjoy it. Not only does she do Rodney Dangerfield, she does eclipses.
She does this.
Get her on stage. Get this Aries stage. What the hell? She just literally performed Eclipse. That was Eclipse by Jessica. And also, I'm pronouncing your last name wrong. McCown.
Yeah,
how did you say it? I've been saying McCown. I've been saying McCown, but it sounded like a guitar riff.
McCown.
McCown.
Yeah, like ice cream cone.
Oh, got it. Yeah, I've been saying McCown. Like it's
McCown works.
It works.
Yeah.
Anyway, wonderful performance by Jessica. So, but eclipses are basically when during a new moon or a full moon, the light between the sun and the moon get occulted or get blocked by Earth, right? So it's a time where Earth and the people on Earth and the experience of life on Earth gets suddenly shifted, because where we would usually either expect to see the sun, and then all of a sudden, you know, in the ancient days, it was always a really it was like a bad omen, because they were like, the fuck's going on? Like there's a you know, there's a darkness coming across the sky, and now
we're being smited
5 minutes. And that's, you know, so there was a lot of confusion during that time. And so eclipses are always related to where the north and the south node are in the sky. And every 18 months, the nodes shift. Now, the regular chart in astrology, when we read the chart, the planets move in a counterclockwise way, except for the nodes move clockwise. The nodes move in an anti-zodiacal way, if you will. Which is, I think, important to note, just because everything is everything, which is duality, which is that like some things move this way, some things move that way. And it's actually in the combination of, or the coming together of these polar energies that creates, you know, something new. So the nodes shift every 18 months. And when the north node is in a sign and there's an eclipse during, so for example, the north node is now in Taurus. Our first eclipse of the year is coming right up. It's going to be a new moon in Taurus, and it's going to be an eclipse, because the north node, the ecliptic point, is where the new moon or where the moon and the sun are meeting in the sky. So that is like a new beginning in a way that is way more powerful than, because usually when we manifest with the moon cycles, it's sort of like, you know, it's very micro in a way, right? I mean, it's not, nothing's micro, everything's everything. But it is like, this is the new moon. This is the area in my chart where I would like to bring new life, set new intentions. And then on the full moon, we take a look at not only your progress, but we celebrate the sort of the fruits of your labor, or what has, you know, what has been shown in this cycle and what is there to be seen. If there are things you see that you don't need anymore or want, you let them go after the full moon, or you celebrate and go, I'm on the right track. And when you come the new, when you set intentions that deepen that manifestation or whatever, right?
Love it.
eclipses, to me personally, why do I love them? Let me count the ways. Because similar to why I love, like, if you follow me, you know, I love retrogrades. I love specifically Mercury retrograde. I love Mercury retrograde because it's like, if you do it right, it's like full permission to just like not get back to emails and like assume you're going to be late and blame everything that is your own personal shortcoming on the Mercury retrograde. Because that's what's likely anyway. It's like this full permission to just like get it wrong, right? Yeah. And I think eclipses work in the same way, where like we don't manifest, or quote unquote, I mean, that was a hot button topic at the last moon wheel actually, but we don't manifest in the same way during eclipses, because that would be like during a Mercury retrograde being like, I know I'm going to save writing my dissertation for the last minute, and I'm going to do it during Mercury retrograde. Like it said no one ever, because it's like, no, if anything, that would be a time where like it wouldn't get to the professor, your printer's going to break, your your thinking is a little bit off. Like, so that's how eclipses work. Eclipses take the onus off of you, or try to, if you will allow for spirit to move you, it tries to take the onus off of you to actually do anything. And it's almost like you have no choice but to just like go with the current. It's like almost like a series of tidal waves, where like even if you're the best surfer in the world, you probably aren't going to go out on the water unless you have like some kind of a death wish, which epic, but like you just wouldn't do that, because it wouldn't be safe. There's something else bigger happening that if you actually sit back and witness, you're going to enjoy it a lot more and get a lot more out of it than trying to like swim against the current or like be impressive during these like monumental shifts in fate. And it's interesting too, if you think about what the sun and the moon represent, right? The sun being that masculine solar energy, the energy of what we can see, the leadership, the government, the sort of outward laws and rules and people and world. And then the lunar energy is always that internal energy, what's really going on, the feminine side, the other side of the story, the needs of the thing, the emotional nature. And so when there's a new moon eclipse, a solar eclipse, it actually is a time where the people and your needs and the collective is very highlighted, because, or no, I'm backwards. The solar eclipse, I'm backwards. The solar eclipse is actually like a downfall of leadership, because the people, the moon, the emotions are eclipsing the sun. So for a minute there, that solar energy, not only is it not powerful, it's got like it's got a mask on, right? It's like doing a face mask during the eclipse, but it's blacked out. And then the opposite happens during lunar eclipses, whereas usually we're feeling the energy from that the sun is projecting onto the moon. Well, during lunar eclipses, we actually are more connected to the earth than we are the sun, because even though it should be that solar energy communicating with the emotional energy, it's actually the energy of earth connecting with that emotional energy. And so that's where you see big collective changes happening, or more feminine, emotional, like from the underground movements coming up and sort of changing the collective for not forever. There's always going to be more eclipses, but changing the collective as we know it right now. And I guess the last thing I'll say, sorry to run on, but the one other thing that I love about eclipses is that it forces you to stay present, because if you're really interested in the thinking mind or the past, or you're wrapped up in some manifestation story that's either like failing or succeeding, or you're whatever ego shit is in the space, during eclipses, it's so out of your hands, it's so out of control, that it really does, like, best practices for any eclipse all the time for the rest of your days is like just witness, like be super present in the divine moment that is, so that you can see what's coming up for you. Really take like almost like a snapshot, like a picture of your life, and then everything that happened in the past and everything that's going to happen in the future, they don't really exist anymore in the same way that they once did. And so it's really like it just makes things fun. It gives you this extra reminder that, like, as much as like Earth sucks and being human is hard, you're really not here alone. You're not doing it alone. You're a part of this way larger cosmic order, and miracles abound. And when you surrender control, it's such a great reminder that actually better things might happen.
So true. So true. I love that. I love that pausing and observing and being present. Yeah.
I mean, it's almost, you get to just be like, fuck it all during eclipses. Like you just get to fuck it. There's an eclipse. Who cares?
And I like this
like a holiday,
like a holiday
season. Yeah. It's like a season of like paying attention, and we have it pretty regularly in our lives. And so I like that the calendar kind of has these built-in pauses and realignments and retrogrades and stuff to kind of give us those opportunities to explore and observe things in other ways.
Totally.
It's really helpful to see that like those are actually, they're like working for you. Like they're not coming to destroy your life. Like only if you resist them will they destroy your life, but they're coming to actually help you. So these eclipses that are coming up, when and like where are they coming up? Like I know they're Taurus Scorpio, right?
Yeah. So from now until April of 2023, we're going to be kind of moving through this eclipse cycle. In 2023, there will be sort of like a hybrid eclipse year because we'll also begin, the nodes will move. And so then we'll get into Libra and Aries. But right now, the North node is in Taurus, the South node is in Scorpio. So during Taurus season and Scorpio season, we're going to have the Taurus and Scorpio eclipses. So the next one that is coming up is on April 30th. What'd you say?
Chills.
Oh, me too.
Looking forward to seeing what the manifestation of those chills are without your control or conscious energy. But so the next one is April 30th. It is a new moon eclipse in Taurus. So there's a lot of things. I mean, that moon in and of itself, I don't know how deep you want me to go into the astrology of it, but it's a really powerful eclipse in Taurus because it's super benefic, even though so what you said, it's like sometimes bad things or malefic things happen during eclipses, but it's not, we as humans, we relate to anything that has like an emotion attached other than pure elation as a bad thing. So it's like, dude, that's like not, maybe just like learn to cry, but anything that's like removed or taken from you or stripped, or even leadership that changes during eclipses is for the better. It's fate. It has to happen. But why this is such a powerful eclipse is because not only is the new moon and the sun in the sky at the ecliptic with the North node pulling us into the future with the planet Uranus, which is like known as the Great Awakener. Uranus is that lightning bolt of like, you can receive it as like downloads of information, or like a car crash happens right in front of you, but it's like, it changes the course. You know what I think of it? Remember that movie Sliding Doors with Gwyneth Paltrow from the 90s?
Yes.
She like misses the train and it shows the two versions of her life, if she did or did not miss the train. Uranus sort of reminds me of that like butterfly effect energy where it's like, this happened, it changed the plan. And actually, in what way did it actually change the plan for the better, or did it actually give you the lesson or the thing that you needed to see or realize, whether you like it or not, that actually changes everything, right? So this new moon with Uranus, with the North node, I mean, I think this is the beginning of a real this past year, we're in a whole experience that is really like the reclamation of the divine feminine. That's really what's going on a like zoomed out perspective, right? So this reclamation of the divine feminine, and Taurus is the first feminine sign. It's ruled by Venus. So this North node in Taurus with Uranus, with the sun and the moon, is so powerful because it's sort of like we've been doing all this like bringing Lilith and Eve energy back together and all of this sort of healing of the divine feminine within herself, and now within the collective. It's really a, even if it shakes up the ground, it will be ultimately grounding in terms of actually getting all of our needs met. That's what it's about. And it's like the Taurus Scorpio axis is, we think of Taurus and it is about money and finances, but it's only that because we have decided that that is the resource. So I think that this could also mark the beginning of us relating to currency and resources differently than we have in our recent past, but like they've actually done it through, more trade oriented or more, commodities, and the way that we're even with Bitcoin, like the way that we relate to things and their value that we are using to sustain life between each other and ourselves on earth, and Taurus is the energy of generating. Scorpio is the energy of regenerating. So this Taurus new moon eclipse is going to ask us to sort of like see what resources are actually here for us that are available to us that we maybe didn't even think of. As Jessica, are you an actor now? You didn't even think that was a possibility, but who knows? There's a bit player, there's a need for a bit player in something, it's that kind of thing where Jessica, I watched the podcast video and your eclipse moved me. Who knows? I listened to the reading with Sarah. I thought Dangerfield was in the room, right? Who knows the things that you have been putting out there or that you have been cultivating and growing in your life that you don't consider resources because at current, they're not helping you make money or sustain your life, but maybe they will, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's really the other thing about this eclipse that's really fucking rad. We currently have this very magical connection between Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. Well, during this eclipse, we also have Venus and Mars in Pisces, and we have Venus, the planet that rules Taurus, exactly conjunct Jupiter, the great benefic, the planet that makes everything bigger and better. And what is Pisces if not like higher love and beauty and art and magic? So when you have Venus working with Jupiter and giving notes to Mars, who's also there trailing behind her as per usual, and Neptune, there's like this sort of sense of like real divine goddess power and wisdom softly coming through and going, oh, by the way, this is how we're doing it now.
Yeah.
And it will be for the highest good and the most loving sort of new earth, new sustainable experience that we can imagine, and then there's always an eclipse that trails the first eclipse. So then we have that full moon eclipse in Scorpio. This is, Scorpio, opposite of Taurus, wants us to, let me rephrase that.
I am concerned about this.
Scorpio doesn't want to expose shit, right? But eclipses in Scorpio make it a requirement. You can't.
You have to.
It will be exposed.
So do they like go balls to the walls? They're like, here's fucking everything. Like, I'm going to dox you. Like, things are going to leak.
Well, you know how I think of it? I think of it more as like, because like who's they being like the cosmic gods that are like the puppeteers of the planets, sure, maybe. I think it's more like it's more of like a call out, more of like almost like a whistleblower on your the habits and the control issues. Scorpio wants control. Scorpio wants to take everything that is generated in Taurus and then either keep it or hoard it or use it as leverage or like or at its best turn it into something else or turn it into right, like blackmail is one version of Scorpio 8th house, but another version is baby making and love making and the merging of two things. It always is a death though. Even birth is a death. Even
I love that.
Marriage is a death, right? When two become one, those two aren't two anymore. It's a whole new thing. And everything about rebirth and birth and death is actually, it's the same axis. It's the same. Birth is traumatic. I don't know why everybody's trying so hard to fucking top it now. Jessica, thank God for your business, but it seems awful. It seems like fucking hell to fucking push a human out of my pussy. Like, I am not like dying to do
Who
this.
designed that? I don't know.
We're trying to make it better. We're trying to make it better.
Yeah.
That hole's bigger. I want to puke my baby up.
I almost spit my coffee all over.
Yeah, that's because it's so much easier to just let it rip out the front.
Like a tapeworm.
I'm gonna burp my baby out.
Okay, I heard this on TikTok, so obviously it's true. Someone was reading an astrology book and they said about like Scorpio sun signs that like the year prior or the year after of a Scorpio being born, a relative dies. That like in 95% of cases.
TikTok's crazy.
It's crazy, but it was in a book.
I'm open to that being true, but I would like to see the research. Because actually, like, don't people just die all the fucking time to be reborn? Isn't that sort of like, you know what I mean? Like, what family doesn't have a single Scorpio in it and not a death in the past 3 years? You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm trying to think though. My dad is a super Scorpio, but I have no idea what the timeline of my great grandparents' deaths were according to his birth. But it is interesting. That's where it's like, I'm open to that being true.
It sounds like it would be true.
But I don't. But I just want to see some stats.
Because of Scorpios, they're like,
well, in a case study, if there's a lot of evidence of this, I'm down for that being true. But I also think, like, even if anything, if a Scorpio made this rumor up, it's because like our power on Earth. It's like energy of Sauron from Lord of the Rings a little.
I love that the narrative shifted to like Scorpio's making this up.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not, like, you know, for the record, now that I'm here, there's not enough room for all of us.
So somebody's gonna die. Yeah.
Scorpios definitely made that up. I love that.
Right.
Okay. So Natalie always gives me a lot of shit because I don't know like my houses and my planets and I don't know all that crap, but I'm learning.
You're about to.
But like, what placements are these going to affect? And I don't even know what that means. That's my question to ask you though.
Well, so that's a fabulous question.
Okay.
Worded by a novice, but that's good. It's good. You know, why do I not love TikTok? Because it is truly such evergreen content, and it's hard for me sometimes to, you know, think in terms of, you know, because I'm like, let's talk about the biblical asteroids of the last known age and everything. Right? So I think not knowing is wonderful, and that was well said. I think that's how most people would ask. So okay, 2 things you want to look out for.
Yeah.
If you have any of your personal planets in Taurus or Scorpio, or any of your planets wherever the eclipses are, right? So every eclipse season it will change. Okay. But so if you have any planets right now in Taurus or Scorpio, or if you have Taurus or Scorpio on your angles, meaning the AC, the ascendant, the descendant, the midheaven, the Ecolium. I'm also I don't remember what the Latin for IC is.
The IC.
So I see that you're at home now. That's okay. But so the thicker lines of the chart are the angles.
Those thick lines.
So if you have your angles or your planets in Taurus or Scorpio, and especially your personal planets. So like,
what are personal planets?
So there's personal planets, and then there's like outer planets, right? So the personal planets are the ones that really like create our personality, right? So it's like the sun, the moon, Mars, Venus, Mercury are the personal planets. The other ones, actually we call them transpersonal planets, or, you know, between the 3 of us, like God planets, because it's sort of like, so the inner planets are close to Earth, and they really help dictate our personalities and the seasons and the energy on Earth at a given time. The outer planets, the transpersonal planets, are very far away from Earth. They're humongous, and they actually are more generational markers. They show powerful energy that is sort of moving through you, and it does influence. I mean, your Saturn is important, your Jupiter, your Neptune, all of these planets, your Uranus are important within the context of your chart, but it's less about, like, for example, Jessica, in your chart, you have your Uranus in Scorpio.
Ooh.
In the 3rd house. So one way you could look at this is like, you tell people that fucking hot fire, like you're communicating with your community or getting messages for the people that you're in the grocery store near, where it's like, this is gonna sound crazy, but I'm getting like a fucking download message from Scorpio, from the other side, right? Dark, psychic, deep messages. But until you learn to like really cultivate that practice, I have a hard time looking at your chart, believing that you were actually like, I mean, now looking at your chart, you might have been just a fucking little bitch when you were growing up too, like just saying fucking like just outrageous shit to people. I in service. I sort of actually think, because I'm looking at your whole chart now, that like that's part of your person, whether it was spirit or not. You might have just been like, it is too cold in here. I'm not doing math unless somebody turns the, you know. So you do have that sort of energy. Aquarius, you have an Aquarius moon and an Aries sun and a Virgo rising with Saturn on your ascendant. So like, you are coming in here with serious shit to say that is going to be shit that no one wants to hear.
Yeah.
So
yay!
Were you that little bitch?
Amy.
You were rowdy. You were rough. You were rowdy in that PR firm you worked at before. Whatever it was. You might have been like just having these like messages like coming out of fucking nowhere, or like random shit, where as an Aquarius moon, you don't have that like deeply, like, it's, I want to applaud you,
like no emotional filter that would like stop that from coming out.
What'd you say, Natalie?
Like, she doesn't have like that emotional filter that would like stop that from coming out. She would just like fucking say
no filter. No, that's not true though, because your moon, so actually it's interesting, your Uranus is in your 3rd house of Scorpio. Your sun, your Mercury are in your 8th house. That's the Scorpio house in Aries. So actually you do hold back sometimes when it allows you to remain in control of the secrets. You'll choose when to say the thing, and you don't give a fuck about how anybody feels about it, because your moon in Aquarius, on the one hand, you care a lot about humanity and the world and the globe, but you might not give an actual fuck about individual people. I'm so honored to be the first guest because this bitch is not trying to chill, actually.
I feel like that's so true, Jess.
I like that. That's
So
like accurate, as they say.
Like, I love people, but I want to be around them.
Yeah.
No, she is here working for the. I feel that same way too. It's like I love people. I love the people.
Yeah.
I don't like people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But but to answer your question, okay, how might this affect your, and you also have your wound. You have your Chiron in Taurus in the 9th house. So what could this?
Which is an asteroid?
It's actually a centaur, but yes, we put it in the asteroid category.
Oh, okay.
For TikTok, it's an asteroid, but
Love it.
it's actually a centaur. And centaurs are interesting because centaurs are actually like sort of bridges between personal planets and outer planets, but it's so deep, and Chiron is that ancient wound. Actually, I was listening to your podcast last week. You guys were talking about how like you get your period during Chiron. That's another thing. Give me the research. I wonder. That's interesting.
We asked our guests, like, do you also get your period in the sign that you have Chiron? Like, we're asking our
oh my God,
listeners.
Tell me when you facilitate data. We will apply for research grants.
We're going to collect this data. We're going to see if it's associated.
Because that's really interesting. Because at the moon, we talk a lot about moon cycles and the periods. Also, I'm a new moon leader too. But it's like but so anyway. So your wound, the Chiron is that ancient wound that on some level feels like it will never be healed.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it becomes that wound that makes you, because you have to address it because there is such a deep wound there, you become the healer, you become the super healer of that thing. And because you have to do it. And it's interesting too, because, one might argue that Taurus represents fertility, that Taurus represents new life.
I think so.
It's the presence of the feminine and the masculine that creates this third, we actually have to merge with other Scorpio to blend to create this thing. But if your wound is in Taurus in the 9th house, like you're actually doing this higher education work, taking people to new places, including space and spirit, but you're actually doing the work of healing what feels like, whether it's in your own life or just in general, like a fertility wound, like a stuckness or a growth.
Oh, yeah.
And really in your chart, it's fascinating too, because that North Node and Saturn in your first house in Virgo, you're kind of here specifically to solve this problem.
Yeah.
Which is like, no, because Virgo is the least woo-woo sign. Virgo is like, don't woo-woo me. Give me the fucking playbook. Give me the
rules.
Yeah.
Rules. Function. Did I do it right? Give me a medal. Right. I will stay out later if I'm the only one that's able to do this harvest perfectly. Just make sure you tell me that the harvest was done perfectly. Right. It's sort of the workhorse, the organizer, the devotion to spirit that you do every day on earth regularly in order to create like new harvest, new crops. Yeah. So you're really writing the rule book and it's also, it's the harvest, fertility. Yeah. So you're really here actually to do that writing of the occult rule book on how to actually functionally work with what feels like resource, fertility, and Taurus issues. So I think for you, the whole eclipse cycle is going to be massively big, like huge for your business and huge for your public persona. I feel like it's possible. I could see this being the kind of thing where it's like, okay, like this is how things work too. Aquarius, Saturn is still in Aquarius. So, and it's at the bending of the nodes actually, wherever Aquarius is in your chart is where you need to do some work that's going to actually facilitate an easier time moving into the future versus the past. So for you, okay, Molly, my co-host at Space Trash, she is, she's in the UK. She actually just quit, left for a different job, but she was the Us Weekly Royals correspondent, whatever. Somebody could listen to our podcast. We also talk about you all the time. And you talk to Molly. Oh yeah, you talk to Molly.
Yeah, I did.
I'm like, the babies are banging down the door. Don't you fucking act stupid. Okay. But, or welcome the baby. But it's like, somebody that was a Royals fan of hers may have listened to your podcast now because they listen to our podcast, which will link to your podcast. And then somebody's like, hello, Jessica, it's me. It's me, Melville from the Palace. We want you to come be
the Palace spit baby
for the queen. She's about to die. Can you do that work as well? Right. So there might be like a deepening of the work that you're able to do and a ninth house, there could be something that takes you somewhere, it brings you on an adventure, or that just like expands your, so it's not just maybe birth, maybe it's also death, maybe it's also like community centers, or just something where you're actually doing higher level, higher education work in that brings you to the world in a whole different way. That's what this eclipse cycle is going to show you. The other thing for you that's really interesting is that Uranus is, you're having a Uranus return.
Ooh.
So we talk a lot about the Saturn return, but there's lots of returns and there's lots of oppositions. So you're not having your Uranus return, you're having a Uranus opposition. So it's almost like the new moon during this eclipse is going to be shooting down lightning bolts that are actually going to be where usually you have the lightning bolts shooting from your third house. Now there's going to be an occult of, there's going to be nothing really seen in the area of Scorpio, but only felt. So you're going to get these lightning bolts from your ninth house, from the world, from the public. You might hear something, you might meet someone, or be asked to go somewhere, and you might be like, I'm not getting any downloads. And then it's like, shut the fuck up, bitch. You're going to get some downloads that maybe aren't the usual kind of downloads that you get. But then when you have those two lightning bolts coming together and then making it this lights up the whole sky when it's right. So it might be like, oh shit, this is not the way I usually receive messages, or this is not the way that I am used to, because even though you're doing some real weird shit.
I love it.
Right. I know when a download comes. Yeah, right. I love that. This is like, it's confirming a lot for me. I feel like you bring the chart to life a lot, and it makes me like feel fun that I chose that chart, you know what I mean?
Well, it's almost like your chart it's simultaneously so serious and so detached and so fun, because it's like literally like work hard, play hard is your chart.
Yeah.
It is work hard, play hard. And yet it is fun. And the truth is, like, for a lot of people that have Saturn in Virgo, that work is hard. But because you're a Virgo rising and a North Node in Virgo, when you embrace the work, like actually you might have fucking hated but been good at working corporate.
Yeah,
I did well.
I hated it.
Like doing affirmations in the car on the way to work, like you were fucking Annette Bening in beautiful, like American Beauty, right? I am a good salesperson, right? And you looked perfect. But it might have been a challenge. Whereas when you really realize what your work is, which usually is indicated by Chiron, you really realize where your work as a healer is for you, because it's really, you've had to be doing all the homework anyway, even if you didn't know what the fuck you were talking about. Now at least you don't know what you're talking about. No one else knows what you're talking about. So you can go, I'm going to tell you what we're talking about. And then doing that work, that front facing worker is your work is fun.
Yeah, it is. It's so fun. And just things that you're saying, like when I got my download of why I'm doing this work, like I was in a garden, right? And I'm very like Taurus season is about gardens coming up. And just as you're saying these things, I'm seeing it all come together.
My nipple.
You have the chills.
It's
you guys get chills. I get
it when it goes to the nipples. It's hardcore.
Well, that's very magical then, because no, being in a garden is so, it's like, I mean, and that's, I think what's also fun about astrology in general, when you can see yourself as this like player in this theater of Earth, and the cosmos are kind of actually like, what's my motivation? There's just so much, dramatic metaphor. I mean, it's like, it is comical. And that's something that you actually helped me to affirm during our reading, where it's like, you don't have to do comedy the way other people do it. You see the comedy in the divine poetry.
Ooh, that gives me chills.
And I was like, great, I'm not working hard at this anymore. Shit. I'm off the hook.
Granted.
I'm staying home. I'm staying home for 2 legs. Fucking count me out. But it was because when you said that, I was like, yeah, that is true. Like, I find such pleasure in discovering the divine synchronicities.
Yeah.
And then when you connect it to the chart, it's like, it brings like a whole new meant to be.
It's like an astrology orgasm.
It is. It literally, no, it's like a cosmic full body. It 100% is. And so for you, even you don't want to manifest during eclipses, but you do want to help yourself, everybody, because the North Node is in Taurus, like garden work, grounding work, putting your feet on the earth, pointing your pussy towards the sky, get a little sun in there, right? Like little things like that will actually help us to receive those downloads. I don't think it's a coincidence that that's when you got your download, because that's actually where you might have been like, I can grow flowers, but I can't grow person sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking Spirit. I was like, why, what's going on here? Yeah.
And I was like, oh, because your queue is full of other people's babies. You need to fucking start telling everybody what's what so that you have a shot at hearing what's what for you.
Yes. Very, very true. Oh gosh.
So, I mean, I could go on and on, but that's, so to answer your question, if anybody has personal, and we'll do you next, Nelly, but if anybody has personal planets or the angles or the houses, like, okay, also because your sun and your Mercury are in the 8th house in Aries, this might be a time, I mean, yeah, in the 8th house, Scorpio house, you know, your North Node, the fate of the collective in Taurus, well, in your chart, that's Libra, that's your bank account.
Yeah.
You know, you might want to start just writing more of your secrets and your process, the things that you think, well, if everybody knows how to do it, then I'll be out of a fucking job. It's like, no, bitch, then you'll be, you know, president of the
you'll be rich.
We're gonna do merch. We're just gonna have a streetwear brand.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's like, it's not, you're not losing anything by, but it's like, so for you to, if you want to actively use the energy, working to connect with more people more often in a way that maybe, because if you tried, the flip side of the Taurus is the Scorpio. Yeah. So wherever Scorpio is in your chart, for you, it's like how you relate to your community and give them messages. For you, it's your ego, your identity, your personality, how you say what to who and what you actually intuitively know and what you choose when to tell, because it makes you more or less powerful. And, you know, and then in your like the way that it naturally falls just within the houses, it's your ego and it's how you connect to others. So in both cases, this whole cycle for you, and for everybody, you want to look at where the planets are, where your personal planets, where the houses are in your chart. You want to really think about where the energy is asking you to go bigger, like to share more. You're abundant. You are, and I think this is also an interesting piece too, where we're talking about resources. Like you're a resource. You're a natural resource.
Yeah. So
how can we actually, like, you know, share and sell you more and in a more equitable way for everybody?
Yes.
That's really what I think the long-term effect of this cycle will be for you. But, you know, and even if you're like, but I don't have any planets in Taurus, I don't have any planets in Scorpio, I don't even have planets in the 2nd or 8th house. What do you do? It's all good. Whatever, wherever Taurus and Scorpio fall in your chart in terms of the houses, and wherever the 2nd and the 8th house are in your chart, they're also sort of the second layer of it, but it's a light effect. But wherever Taurus and Scorpio are, that's just showing you where Taurus is, there's going to be fated new life being born, new, like a total revolution of the way that is operating in your life. And then in the Scorpio area, it's just going to be like it's basically just like the drain. It's like, don't like catch the earring backs that fall, but otherwise let that shit go. Drain all the things, all the water, Scorpio, that you've been intensely holding on to, or the secrets or the control or the power. You know, Scorpio is really the dark side of the feminine. Yeah. So, you know, Jessica's getting messages in the 3rd house coming directly from the dark side of the feminine. And then she's keeping all her Aries shit secret because of the dark side of the feminine. It's like, well, actually, maybe if the feminine felt a little more safe. Yeah. Or was a little more integrated, we wouldn't need to have such like a stronghold on even like our money. I mean, that is going to be in America, and I think money. Globally, like the fact that there's billionaires and the amount of billionaires and the amount of homeless people. I mean, I could. It's a real. Yeah. It's not even a pain point for me, but it's like it's part of what I came here to like. Yeah. Like I will Joel Osteen about money, but it's like you guys are hoarders. Like the really rich people.
Like no other way to word it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put them on TLC. Why are you hoarding all the money?
Yeah. It'd be a great show.
What's wrong with you?
I would watch that.
Help? You don't think you can help?
Let me show you all the ways.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Let me count the ways. Because it's like, why do you, because the idea that we would need, it's funny because I fight with people all the time about having a savings account. I don't have a savings account. If I have $40, I have $40. I'm not saying long term, this is going to be like, I don't hope you know, this is part of why I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna have kids, but it's like, but I think part of what I've learned in my life is that, and I think this is what the Taurus Scorpio cycle is going to ask us to address, is like the things that we like allow to like make us feel safe is you could have all the money in the world and you're not safe.
Yeah.
And you could have no money and be safe. And security is an inner job, and security is a feeling. And while, yes, we should, I should technically be making more money and having more money and all of that. Jessica pointed it out to me though. She said it was my existential kink to stay poor because I have to create miracles, and I've never related that. No, nothing has ever been more true. I'm like, yeah, that actually is the
that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Because you can call in your daddies and it's kind of, you get a kick out of it. Like, look what I fucking did.
I fucking love miracles.
Yeah.
I fucking love miracles.
Yeah.
But it's like sometimes the only way that you can actually even acknowledge a miracle is having nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm on my personal life. I would love to find a balance of having something, what I'm not like, oh, a free Subway. Oh my God. Thank God, but
Sky Daddy.
I have everything I need. My needs are always being met. It's like,
and it's a foot long.
Right. Maybe
today
buy
and tomorrow
if you want one. But yeah, if anything, it's not I'm not getting a 6-inch from the universe. I'm getting a fucking
right.
Size matters, Jessica. Okay.
Let's hope we get a foot long from the universe.
And one for a friend, and one for a friend.
Yeah.
You're good. But it's like there's a real sickness with the economy. I mean, even like the economy being a field of study, economics is nothing but like a cultish, like propaganda. Like, here's how economics work. It's like, according to the money you invented.
You made it up. Yeah.
So that you can keep more.
Mm-hmm. You made it up. It's all a lie.
You made it up.
Yeah.
So if that can be made up, and I'm not saying that I have any solutions, I certainly do not, but I definitely know what I can contribute to the conversation, which is really maybe just to facilitate conversation and creative brainstorming. That's what I do with people all day, every day. Because if the small dick white guys can come up with a whole system that excludes others and makes us powerful nation, there's no doubt that the feminine can come up with a solution that is equally powerful and perhaps not as damaging as we tend to do.
Exactly.
That's right.
With
our sun-drenched pussies.
We're waiting for it. Yeah, put your yoni in the sun with the eclipse and see what happens.
Yeah. Get fucked before and after. But during the eclipse, you want to just be careful, because while it is the eclipse, if you put your pussy in the air while the moon is eclipsing the sun, who knows what kind of, I mean, actually, it could be a good thing. That's the whole thing too. There's no good or bad. I mean, we don't live in the ancient times anymore where it's like, oh no, it's dark times. It's dark times again. This happened last year.
Get the cows. Get the cows.
Right. Like, this isn't like the dark time. Someone's going to break into your house because there's no light for a minute. But it is, it is interesting. I mean, if I could give anybody advice, like, you can go on astroseek.com. There's a lot of sites. Check it out. Go look back at the dates of the last 2 or 3 eclipse cycles. Notice, just in reflecting, wow, this whole storyline changed and it was in this area of my chart. Oh, this whole storyline changed and it was, it's fascinating. I would bet you 1,000,000% that none of the things that really changed during that time were necessarily on your to-do list.
Yeah.
But there were things that were not. So that's why people are like, I'm scared. It's like, there's nothing to be scared of. It's actually, thank God there's stuff we don't know.
Ooh, yeah. Thank God for change too. My goodness.
Right.
Yeah.
And how and that's, thank God for change. And what Scorpio doesn't want is change. Scorpio, unless it's transforming in my way with what you gave me for the better so that I can keeping. Scorpio is like, no, I know how it is now. I can control this. I can manage this. So this is where there is going to be a lot of like, sort of, I think, like geopolitical and social unrest, because nobody that has a lot of money is like, yeah, this is a problem. It's the people that don't, that are like, hey,
it's a problem.
So
need some of that money.
Right. And so it's going to be interesting because, the North Node in Taurus for the next 2 years is going to drain, as they say, and I think it might have been a Trump slogan. So really
drain the swamp.
Hilarious, drain the swamp.
Yeah.
That's what the next is, drain the swamp. But like, including you guys, it's like,
it's not
all
us.
part of the swamp. It drained the swamp within you.
I love that you say that Scorpios don't like change. I feel like I just never associated that with the sign, but it makes me understand my wife a lot better. She's got a Scorpio moon and her favorite word is no.
Oh yeah.
It just makes a lot of sense.
Oh, now and it's ironic too, because Scorpios hypothetically should live for change. It is the sign of transformation.
They burn it down. Yeah.
But change is different than transformation.
Say more. 1,000. That's exactly where I was going. Yeah, say more.
Change can sometimes be unexpected, unplanned. Transformation, I think you are in control of it. And you're like, I'm here for this. I need this. There's a willingness to it. There's an unexpectedness to change that I think fucks everybody up with change. But transformation, it's like, it's almost like so big. It's like a mega change. You can't stop it. So you have to embrace it. Whereas little changes, you're like, why don't they have my fucking almond milk today? Fucking, I don't want this in my coffee. I hate Starbucks.
Shop here
fuck
anymore.
you.
Fuck Starbucks and fuck the billionaire Mr. Starbucks. But thank you to all the workers. And I love mobile. I love my mobile app. But that's exactly right. And I think that like where Scorpio rules transformation as the conduit of transformation, you want to keep all the tools so that you can facilitate transformation at large and at small. But no, Scorpio doesn't want change. And Scorpio, both Scorpio and Taurus are highly stubborn signs. Yeah. They're stubborn. Taurus wants to do things their way. Scorpio wants to keep their thing so that they can transform as needed.
That's so funny.
So if you have a wife that's saying no all the time because it's because like she has an idea of how it's going to go. She's actually playing it out. You're actually in her show.
Yeah. Well, she's a Leo rising, so I know I'm in her show.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, we have your chart. Well, that's a read your shit. But it's like the thing too about Scorpio, I always feel like people born with Scorpio moons. Did you say she's also a Libra rising?
Leo rising.
Oh, Leo rising. Oh,
it's so great.
Well, that's a fun chart actually.
I'm in love with it. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's a very passionate, exciting chart. But I always say that people with moons in Scorpios, again, give me the data. Are you guys dead? I think that people with moons in Scorpio have like 1 foot in this life and 1 foot in like past life vengeance.
Yes. Ooh. Yes.
Where like, because we think of Scorpio moons, it's like, they don't share how they feel. They don't share how they feel. But then when they do, it's like in some like
explosive way.
Like violent.
Yeah.
Like, I will get mine. Don't betray me. You know? Like Scorpio moons be walking around feeling like they're getting betrayed all the damn time.
Yeah.
And then that's why they're so protective, because it's like, yo. But then from the outside, we're like, yo, dude, like you're the one creating this whole thing. But that intensity, it's like, you know, your moon is your soul. Your moon is the closest part of like who you really are here on Earth. And so and I mean, I have an 8th house, you know, Jessica has an 8th house Sun Mercury. I have an 8th house Moon Mars. So we're not Scorpios. We don't have, but we're doing that. You're doing that Aries work. I'm doing that Capricorn work. We're leaders of the new Earth in a very behind closed doors, witchy, how can we manipulate this way? You know? So that's what it is. But the reason that we have that is because, I mean, what is Scorpio? It's karma. It's shit that's been you've inherited the 8th house. You've inherited Scorpio, and now it's yours to figure out what to do with it. And because we're all so insecure because of what we've been taught, we've been told that you're going to age out of being viable. Right. Baby making, you wish the minute that you can't make babies or do a lot of work during the day and you can't make us a profit, you're fucked. You better fucking save for savings. And that's why I am not going to plan for my retirement. I'm not planning. If I die tomorrow, I would rather have everything. I would rather have my latte.
I refuse. Yeah. And your foot long.
And two
foot long.
Double TV.
Meatballs up. Yeah.
Lunch and dinner.
Yeah. Fuck the patriarchy.
Yeah. I don't know if that answered your question. Natalie, you want me to look
kind of.
It did answer. Yeah, sure. I got Chiron in the 8th house. So I don't know what the implications of that are.
Let me make sure you can cut this part out though, but let me make sure your birth info was correct, because actually I don't have Chiron in your 8th house. So
are you looking at I use whole signs? Yeah.
Right. Okay. So if you were doing whole sign, either works. You know, but
you tell me what you see.
I mean, yeah, all the houses and like an eclipse is too. Sometimes you do want to. I mean, for Jessica's chart, she's a 3-degree rising, so it might as well be a whole sign chart. Yours you're a late degree Sag rising, so it will change significantly, like whole sign or Placidus. I mean, do you want me to look whole sign or Placidus? Do you care?
Whatever you feel. No, whatever you feel.
I'll do Placidus just because I just did Jessica, but you know, if you use the code no normal, 50% off. We'll do them. We'll do it all.
Love it.
Yes.
Okay, so for you, what planets do you have in Scorpio? Well, you have Oh, this is fun.
Pluto.
Okay, this is big for you. Yeah. So you have your of course your wife's a Scorpio moon.
Of course
you
she
have
is.
your Pluto, your Juno, the planet of marriage, or the asteroid that represents marriage and committed partnership long term, and Lilith, your fucking naughty fucking just naughty, angry, dark side. All in Scorpio in the 11th house. So where are you going to do occult work? Broadcast.
I love
And
it.
you have your Venus
Mm-hmm.
in Taurus. Venus is so happy in Taurus.
Mm.
You have had, so Tauruses aren't evil. Money might be, but Tauruses aren't evil, but you have your Venus in the home sign of Taurus in the 5th house. So I actually think for you, just in general, like when it comes to like love making and like partnership on the one-on-one, making sure it's fun and makes money, that's like sort of your jam. Of course, you're the one that wrote the bios.
I did write the bio.
Of course. Yeah.
You're gonna have to do mine after this. I'll trade you. Okay? But it's like you wrote the bios. You collaborate really well when it comes to one person. And when it's your job on the day-to-day to do that work that is creative but also long-term sustainable, you get to do it's like you're getting like permission to use your Gemini. And what's cool about your Gemini, so then you have Gemini, depending on which house system you're looking at, where I'm looking, it's in the 6th house. You have your Mercury, your Sun, and your Pallas Athena, the strategist, the feminine strategist in Gemini. So it's almost like the last 2 years when the North Node was in Gemini, you were getting a real sense of like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do every day. And this is the language to use to describe it. And I'm going to do it in my community to start. And then now the nodes have shifted. And now I'm going to do it really intimately with 1 or 2 people. And I'm going to broadcast it 11th house. That's how the nodes work. You were going through the last 2 years, you had to let go of a lot of South Node Sagittarius. So whole sign, it would change your identity. But in Placidus, it's changing your psychic makeup so as to change your identity, so as to change what you do devotionally every day to do your service to the world. Part of what you're here to do is create a more sustainable future. What's lucky for you guys as a pair is like both Sag risings and Virgo risings. You guys could just say whatever.
We do.
And like experts. People are gonna just
like that all the time.
You need to have like a disclaimer like this. I feel like I need to do. Sometimes I order readings and it's like, this is entertainment purposes only, and I'm like, am I gonna get sued? Do I just say that? That's why I'm like, I just say comedy, and hopefully that like covers it. But
Covers
it's like,
it.
for people who are believing what you two are saying.
If you say anything with authority, people will believe it. So be careful.
You can't help but say everything with authority,
right?
Yeah,
you can't help it. It is
No.
you're saying it, and it's like, wow, which knows. So you had to actually check yourself a little bit the last eclipse cycle, because you were like, damn, I actually am aware of my power, and I don't know if I'm like really being responsible for the words I'm using, who I'm using them with, and like how I'm actually accessing how spiritual I really am with my like devotional practices. And I think what's really exciting is, okay, remember, I know this has been a journey, but remember, I just said that there's this powerful illumination happening. Once every 166 years, do Jupiter and Neptune align in the sign of Pisces. Now for this eclipse, we're going to have Mars and Venus there. It happened at 23 degrees Pisces. Where's your motherfucking moon?
Fucking moon.
22 degrees Pisces.
What does that mean? Like, what does that mean though? I keep saying that this year's like year of tears. Is that because Jupiter's in Pisces?
Okay. Sweatshirt number 2.
Year of tears.
It's the year of tears.
Make it merch. Make it merch. Yes.
I love you,
First
Sarah.
of all, your life is year of tears.
Oh, good.
Life
Okay,
is
good.
years of tears. That's part of your like psychic gift. You know, your moon will always show you where on a soul level you just have like some psychic like power, right? And so, you know, Jessica's moon in Aquarius, she just like literally walks down the street and hears everyone's thoughts, and she just like is like, oh my god. And then she hears their dead baby's thoughts, and they're fucking the miscarried baby's thoughts, and the fucking fetus thoughts, and it's just like, god damn, I gotta go home and do my own witch work because I'm sick. I'm fucking going behind closed doors. Like, that's like your jam. For you, you are not psychic. Well, I mean, Gemini is psychic in an air way too, but for you, that moon in the 3rd house in Pisces, you feel, and sometimes we talk about like water signs as I feel. I sort of think that fire signs might be more, I feel, because it's like the passion, it's the whatever, which you have a lot of. But Pisces is, I guess what I mean more is like, I intuit, like I, you know, your moon in the 3rd house in Pisces means that you can be like in a room with people. And the way that Jessica's like, okay, there is a spirit baby knocking at the door.
Yeah.
Trying to tell you to blah, blah, blah. You're like,
something feels wrong.
Something's going on.
Yeah.
And then that Gemini Sun Mercury can investigate and go, hey, is there something wrong? I care.
Yeah.
And then based on what they say, you might see visions more than you get like Jessica's getting downloads.
Yeah.
You're getting visions of and you have, you know, moon in Pisces. And what does it mean right now? You have like access to the Akashic records. Like you have access to 3rd house, the local community, the reading, learning, understanding. You are here to help us. Like Jessica's here to like write the rule book for like intermingling between worlds or whatever.
That makes me so happy, by the way.
So you're in charge. Jessica's class president.
Just in charge.
You're like the VP, where you're like, okay, so she's going to handle that overarching conversation. I'm going to actually like work with the community in a way that is actually changing our stories and changing the way that we're like, the way that we're relating to each other and ourselves. And moon in Pisces can be in the 3rd house, can be very painful. Why is it the year of tears? Well, aside from the war and the plague, and the general feeling, the low grade depression that even the happiest people are operating on top of, which you feel.
I feel it.
Everyone also is like, if you're crying every day, I mean, if anything, you might just want to say to yourself as you're crying, like, this is for homeless Harriet. This is for Barry at the grocery store.
This is for everybody.
This is for my aunt. I'm crying for you, because it might not be all yours. Like
I feel that, yeah.
It's not yours. You're just doing, you feel people so hardcore that you just have to let it go. But what's really good is that, you know, what can we say? This eclipse cycle, if you're feeling it, first of all, you got to feel it to heal it. Okay.
Correct.
Second of all, how do we heal Mother Earth, Gaia and Taurus? The tears of our human self will walk the earth and bring us into new earth, right? So I think that for you, this eclipse, if I was going to guess, you know, but I feel like this eclipse is really about you. You guys are great partners, because it's sort of the same thing, like in doing it together is really going to work. Where I think for you, it's basically going, what is holding you back? Oh, you can write bios for people that don't have jobs that exist. I bet you could do a lot of fucking things. I bet you should blow this podcast up. Like there's a part of your psyche, Scorpio 11. There's a part of you, I would ask yourself, is there a part of you that doesn't want this to blow up?
Not even a little bit. I feel like I'm here for it. That last eclipse cycle, I like quit nursing. I was a nurse for 10 years to like take this full time. So
then even then what the South Node eclipse in your 11th house could do is basically remove any residual, even other people's stuff. Like what they're, isn't she a nurse? She's serious. She went to school, you know, like, or just like, wow, Natalie, like your podcast wasn't what I thought it was going to be, you know, or whatever. Like there is a drainage happening in your, even for you too, there might be groups that you have to let go of, or things that you're involved in that just don't, if you're still in the Nursing Association of America, you can cancel that membership. Like,
I'm out.
To stay in that.
I'm not in there.
Or maybe there's new groups that are coming to you that you would have to be a little bit more vulnerable. Okay, like it's one thing to have a cool podcast with your girlfriend and to be doing all this psychic work, but like, would you join, you know, I'm just making shit up, but like, you know, the official board of tarot readers of America or whatever. It's like, there's societal things that are coming to you that are going to ask you to change the groups that you're in and the way that you're doing broadcast. Because if you do that 5th house North Node Venus work, like every time that you do any kind of like sex, and I don't mean sex, like we're having this is a throuple now. We're having a threesome. Any creative exchange of energy is sexual or is erotic in nature. And if you're like, oh yeah, like I if Jessica's like the spirit baby like reader, you're like the spirit baby maker. Thank God you're gay. Like if you didn't have a wife, I'd be like, damn bitch, you not start popping these babies out like bunnies, right? But you want to be popping out your creative life is going to explode with with integrated awareness. And I think taking more seriously some of the things that you maybe don't always, how do I put it? Like there might be like Jessica's like, it's my job to tell you that your fetus is talking to me. Right? Like, that should cry. Your moon in Pisces and your sun in Gemini, you don't want to say stuff that's that. Jessica can say the crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Because you're very aware of people's on earth reality.
Receptivity. Yeah.
You know, that's why you're probably good at writing copy, because you're like, yes, no holds barred, be yourself, but also you happen to be the Gemini strategist.
Yeah.
So you kind of are always checking yourself a little bit and just how to phrase something or what to say. Or sometimes you might be having feelings and really thinking that it's about you or that something you couldn't share or whatever, when really it is about you, but it's not about you. It's about something that you needed to know. If you can take all the feelings that you feel from others and go, wait a second, this is business. Your North Node is in Aquarius in the second house. It is your responsibility to take all those Leo feelings that you get from other people, like it's currency, and turn it into something that sustains second house, Taurus, Aquarius, builds your life. Right now, I would bet you your bank account hurting. You might be having
it's not great right now. Yeah.
Oh, it's not great. Yeah, I know.
Right now.
Saturn is sitting there on your North Node with your second house going, oh yeah, you can be your own business owner. You're going to build your own business. Oh, you're going to have fat stacks of cash. Okay, sure. And I think what this eclipse season is asking you to do is basically even that 11th house too, the ideas that you have, even though you know that you can and you will, and we're going to do affirmations. Yeah.
I'll make
but
it
also
work.
like, try it, like what you do now, like there's a sense of like, I would like to have money, right?
Yeah.
So I think when you're in your cry, when you're feeling the feelings of all the people, actually getting a little bit like clinical with it and going, okay, wait a second. Okay, nurse. Oh my God, do a little intake form for every person you interact with. What is the pain? If you can identify pain points specifically in everyone, that's how you build your business.
Heck yeah, I do that.
You do that. Yeah.
Then keep doing it. Do it more. Put yourself out there more, bigger, more out there, because the work that you do intimately with each person, because you understand their pain point. And I also think for you with this North Node in Taurus with your Venus, and then your North Node in Aquarius with Saturn in your second house, the Taurus house, kind of like how Jessica's doing the like, this is how we do it. Of like, we're going to talk to dead people. Yeah. Or the unborn, different. Yeah. You're more like, there need to be systems for healers. There needs to be systems for, like, if there was and now I'm like, oh, I got to get you into the Moonual, because that's sort of part of what I have always thought, which is like, oh yeah, like there's no marketplace. There's no there. There's no Barstool Sports, or there's no hub for, like, you want a nurse, you go to a hospital, you go to the doctor. Right. That's easy. You want a psychic, you want to talk to your unborn child. Where the fuck are you supposed to go? Google. Right. So, right. So perhaps for you, the thing that might come out of this is you might just get some like genius idea. And I don't want to put I don't know, but you might get some genius idea about how the work that we're all doing as little like plebes on earth can actually like figure out how to make it a system that works better for everyone, where then you become the greedy billionaire.
I promise that won't happen, but
everyone says that, but
just a billionaire, no greed.
No greed.
No, that's a shirt too. You guys are speaking in merch. Just a billionaire, no greed is so funny.
I love that. I've actually like thought about creating like wellness center. I had a vision of like wellness center franchises that like, it's like a co-op, so it makes it more accessible with a bunch of like healers and stuff that can be, it's like,
that's like exactly what I want. No, I want the Moonual to be like the Soho house with pools all across the land.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about it later, because that is the vision. That is the work. And really like, think more before I poison your brain with my dumb ideas. Journal on that. Like just get curious. Like what would, just like play with it a little bit. Like it's like Play-Doh. Like what colors would the walls be?
It's fucking
What-
outlined. I'm telling
you
you,
know?
it's outlined.
That's the work then. Then
It's
that's
just
what you're
sitting.
doing. Then take
Yeah.
it. Okay, it's not just sitting. Maybe it'll grow its own you don't have to do anything. But maybe, just maybe, during this eclipse season, it'll grow its own fucking legs. Or
Love
someone
it.
will be like, oh my God, I'm so annoyed. I have this property that was given to me and like I don't even know what to do with it. And you're like, oh, I know, I'll make my own.
Here's my
this
plan.
subway of healing. And I think that's my first location. It's like, who knows? That's what can be,
Mhm.
what does Scorpio represent? Real estate, other people's
Oh,
money.
really?
Mhm. And
Oh,
what does
yeah.
Scorpio represent? Like land and
Mm.
earth. So
I
really
love that.
working with the land and the earth in conscious, sustainable ways, which includes probably rethinking how we do real estate, which ultimately is on earth. It's what the war is about. This isn't World War III. This is the third part of the same fucking war.
Mhm. It is. Resources, about resources. Yeah.
About resources and land and ownership.
Yep.
Scorpio is ownership. Like Taurus is what's mine, but Scorpio is what was yours and now it's mine.
That's a t-shirt.
You're fucking no. I have my podcast, Space Trash.
Space Trash.
There's tons of merch, but I've been doing just like collabs. So whenever like something like this, like I'm gonna put those 3 shirts online. You can probably design them better than I can, but I'll try, and we'll put them online. And if anybody wants to buy them, they can go to the store. And that will be a Space Trash X No Normal collab.
Yes.
Just like Fenty and Rihanna. And
We're
in the
Rihanna.
Rihanna's a Pisces.
I need to go there.
That's
So.
okay.
And she's pregnant.
I know.
Love that.
Well, so is Natalie with wellness centers across the globe.
Yes. So good.
You're gonna have
We
your
love
baby.
that.
Have your baby, and you're gonna have
These
the
wellness
diagnosis.
centers.
And I really look forward to seeing how this plays out. But do you have any other questions? I don't know if I answered the questions or was.
That was so,
helpful,
no, that
but-
was very, lots of information about the eclipses, which is what I think we really wanted to talk about. But
Yeah.
about you.
Or did I miss anything about the eclipses? Fuck me, but did I
No.
miss anything?
No, that was actually really good. And through the lens of our charts, that's fun for us to know. And
So fun.
fucking I'm an Aries. I'm like, tell me more about me.
First, when you come and compliment me. And
I
then
will say this for both of you, Aries, Chiron has been in Aries and is in Aries now. So for you, Jessica, there is like, and it might start feeling, it might, as Chiron moves, it might be like, ouch. But then ultimately it's like, fuck yeah. Like you're really healing your sense of like, yeah, this is who the fuck I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do talk to fetus. Yeah, I do talk to the unborn. And you know what? I don't even know if you die. I could see being a death doula. I don't know why. But
Yeah.
that's one piece. And then for you, Natalie, your Mars and your IC, the IC that you live there, bottom of your chart, are both in Aries. And so for you, you're getting a healing of like actually the work that you're here to do on Earth, which does start from and stem from the home, and really making sure that life on this planet caters. You're here to like be a warrior for like, actually, I'm catering to me. Be the nurse. If you're the nurse for your home and the nurse for your life, that's all you're getting empowered. Like, oh no, I don't need to like work at an institution in order to get paid to help people. I can do it at my house, and I'm going to create a new institution because that actually, healthcare is sick care.
sucks.
Yeah. Ooh.
There is no healthcare.
There is not, it's poorly named. They don't want you to be healthy.
No, they actually bank on you not being healthy.
Yeah.
So that is part of like money, real estate, health, wellness. All of this is what this eclipse cycle is about. Like, okay, wait a second. Are we, because I think North Node and Gemini brought us all into our communities in a hilariously specific way.
Yes.
Where do you live? What house are you not leaving? And is there enough toilet paper? Go freak out and get your neighbors would have been toilet paper because you need more toilet paper, right? So we're all very focused on the community and the language we're using and, and understanding each other and who we're with. And now that it's in Taurus, it's like, okay, but then how do we like actually, and now we have all this toilet paper.
Yeah.
What do
It's a resource. It's a new resource.
Literally. What are we going to do with it? How do we distribute this fairly? Or do we keep it for myself? Do I just start, this is the time to do the diet pills, get laxatives, Not sure.
Really excited to see what comes up for people with this eclipse season.
Yeah.
It comes out.
Let us know. Go get your chart read by Sarah so you can get a fucking exciting download like this.
Yeah. Okay. Tell everybody where they can find you. And I know you set up a code.
So
Yeah.
you can find me I think like the easiest place, although I know it's like kind of like passe now, I guess I'm aging myself, but Instagram is the
Same.
easiest for me right now. So you can find me at Instagram at Sara Armour, SaraArmour, and on Instagram at the Moonual. You will find both. There will be links in bio. The link tree there will lead you to anything you want: readings, Space Trash podcast, tickets to the Moonual, merch, tons and tons and tons of merch coming soon. We have no normal merch coming.
Love it.
And I can't wait for that collab. And then yeah, if you want to book a reading, and I did it for my packages too. I just made a code no normal, and if you go to the book a reading tab on my link tree, just use the code no normal and there will be no normal price for you, bitch.
I love it. We'll put it, I will link it in the show notes. I will.
So generous, Sarah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank
Just
you guys.
with
Sorry
your
if I just
energy.
screamed at you for it.
No, we loved it. I loved it. I'm just like,
it.
I mean, I'm like having to like, I want to be able to talk like that, you know, like, oh, you're moon, you're this, you're that. So it's just very encouraging for me to see somebody speak with such authority and excitement and understanding all the parts. So I'm getting there.
If it makes you feel any better, I would love to be able to like talk to Rodney Dangerfield and and things unborn or were born or two people. I mean, so, and I would love to just be calm.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have a lot to learn from each other.
We do.
Oh, thanks for popping our guest cherry.
Yes.
Ruffle.
Yeah.
That's so me. 8th house, Moon, Mars, and Capricorn. I just, have me be the first.
I love. And then with that, actually, I think we have more questions, so we might have you on again.
Yeah.
If you're open to it. If you're into
every
it.
day, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Maybe at the end of this eclipse season or this first eclipse or something, or maybe in Scorpio time again.
We'll come back and compare our toilet paper swatches.
Good idea. And also, this is a very informal invite. I'll follow up, but like, if you guys aren't doing anything on the new moon, not only come to the Moonual, but if either of you want to share your wares on the Moonual, that is sort of my version of a collective healing, because everybody gets hired. You know, Jessica got hired by everybody at the Moonual.
I did. It was amazing. Well, and it's like so fun because you get to like do a little show and tell, and people there like, it's like a carousel of joy and fun and interest. And we had people doing dance stuff for us. We had readings, we had celebrities, like people were taking bathroom breaks and coming back. It was fun. Comedy.
I've done on toilet leading for sure. It's very intimate in that way. But yeah, it's like a show. It's show and tell is exactly what it is. And it's sort of like a sort of cosmic cabaret in lieu of like a dead serious like moon ritual at the yoga studio.
Did you love show and tell as a kid, Sarah?
Yes and no. You know, I felt a little bit insulted.
Oh,
like just come to the show. But I did love show and tell, and I would always come with something that was like so out of the box, and like anything like that. Describe a grape, show and tell, all that stuff. Yeah, I was hitting them. With comedy. They didn't even know what, you know. Oh, your doll? How about I bring you? These are my brothers. They're the Beatles. They're standing behind me. Can you see them?
I love it.
Is it justice to show and tell?
Yes.
Okay, we have a question that we're gonna start asking everybody.
Yes.
Just like normalize all of our weird experiences. What is something, oh my God, I just lost it. Weird about you or the way that you grew up that you love?
Oh my God, everything?
Love it.
I mean, I guess it's like, what is weird? Like, I mean.
That would be like.
My house is a doggy daycare.
Okay, yes, that counts.
I love it.
That counts.
That counts. Totally normal.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting too. So this is sort of a fun one. At the last Moonual, the North Node currently is actually in the sky with asteroid Hecate, who is the goddess, like the witch of the witches, the queen of the witches. She's that witch, right?
That witch.
And I have Hecate on my Venus in Virgo.
Ooh.
And in the 4th house, which is home. And when I was doing my Hecate research to do our little Moonual, I found out that Hecate, part of why she was so powerful is because she was always surrounded by dogs. And that's why she was able to help Demeter find Persephone, because she had dogs sniffing it out. And why she was such a great witch is because she was always protected because there were dogs protecting her. So she lived a long time and she was really powerful, but it wasn't because she was the most powerful, it was because she was surrounded by dogs. And so when that clicked for me, I was like, and I am from the doggy daycare and I am
I'm that witch.
You're on Zoom, right? And I was like, oh shit. So that is weird, you know, and definitely it was very affirming for me to be like, yeah, I do live in a doggy daycare. And I do sometimes go home to be at the doggy daycare and help and live there and whatever, because like I'm Hecate, not because I'm a loser.
Right, because I'm a fucking witch.
Because you have protection.
Yeah, I'm not a broke artist. I have to go work with my familiars, bitch.
Familiars, yes. Like I say that, like all my dogs are sitting behind me, like all the time.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, you're familiar. You're familiar.
They're familiar. Well, thank you so much for
you
coming.
guys. What's weird about you?
Oh my God. I feel like everybody knows
the whole podcast.
Yes.
Yeah, it's right. It's actually
episode 1.
Right. It's a podcast dedicated to being completely weird.
Yeah.
It's
normalizing the weirdness.
Yeah. Talk to aliens, Jess talks to the unborn. That's what's weird.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna send you guys some example streetwear and I'll send you your signs.
Okay.
We gotta get you some merch.
We gotta get some merch.
Yeah.
You're gonna laugh.
Thank you, Sarah.
You're gonna laugh at the new Aquarius gear, Jess.
Okay, good. I love my Aquarius side. I'm really leaning into it.
Oh yeah, you got to.
It's
weird because like with Saturn in Aquarius, where like you're having an explosion of tears because literally the rulers of Pisces are all in Pisces going like, yes, you feel it. Yes, your intuition's right. Yes, your dreams are probably lit right now. Dream journal every fucking morning. Natalie, you'd be shocked. Like, oh my God, your dreams. For you, Jess, your heart might actually feel a little bit heavy because when Saturn is on your moon, it's heavy on your bank account, Natalie, but it's also your North Node. So it's like, figure it out, right? For you, Jess, it's on your moon. And so you might be feeling like this like weight or like a seriousness to like the things you feel into it. And I think that's just asking you to take it more seriously. Like, like share it with more, like, this is what I thought, but it's actually like, it's like, you don't have to, like, caring about people doesn't mean you have to do more work. You
I love that.
You needed to hear that, Jess. Jess needed that permission.
Do less work and help more people.
That's my baby I'm going to take with this.
Oh my God, I'm the spirit baby lady now.
Yeah.
Transformation, people. It happens like that.
Oh my God, this was so fun.
Yeah, so fun. I'm really appreciative and I look forward to connecting in the future and definitely come to the Moonwheel and I'll message you. I actually do have a client, so I have to go in a minute, but any other questions before I just cancel the Zoom? I don't know how we ever end these things, but
I'll end it. I'm the timekeeper.
No, we're just so grateful and you've brought so much joy and liveliness, and thank you for your just being here today.
Pleasure. I'm so honored to have taken your guest virginity.
We'd love to have given it to you. You know what? I just love it.
It was so consensual.
Power grab. Yeah, consensual. Yeah, that's cool. Hell yeah.
All right, and with that, we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Maybe I'll be here too. I now joined the podcast.
Yeah, Sarah will be back.
Okay, I love you guys. I'm gonna go to the client. Bye.
Bye.